Hello and welcome to the Plain English Finance Podcast. My name's Trey. I'm your host. The podcast is dedicated to helping you make smart financial decisions. That's the part I missed. I'm a certified financial planner and chartered investment manager. I'm a financial planner with TC Wealth Management and Aviso Wealth. For more information, check out the show notes or listen to the first few episodes. So this is the second episode on the debt topic. And this one is, the first one was about the consequences of getting into debt and not being vigilant with debt. This one is talking about, so you're in it. What now? What do you do now? And I was actually thinking that I should have done this one with somebody else just because we've never been in the type of debt that we're going to be talking about. So maybe once they hear this, if they are willing to sit down and talk about it,
I'm
talk
trying to
about
think
their
who it
journey,
is, but I can't figure it out. So
then let me know and we can do it and you can tell your story. But yeah, so full disclosure, yeah, I've never been in this type of debt. This type of debt terrifies me. So there's different types of debt. There's I'm a month of income in debt, or there's I'm 2 years of income in debt, and it's very different. And I think the way that you'd approach them is very different. But let's go through a few steps of what somebody would actually do, because that's kind of what I like to focus on is what action can I take? What should you be doing? So you're listening to this and you're thinking, I'm that person. I'm in debt. What do you think the first thing?
first thing would be to know how much debt you're in. That's kind of where I would start.
Yeah. So starts with a net worth statement.
Still.
Sit down, do a net worth statement. You can't even begin to tackle what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So to keep it simple, like a simple net worth statement, make sure you're recording how much debt you're actually in, so you have the numbers. It's amazing how I watch these shows on YouTube and stuff, and the people have no idea how much debt they're in.
Yeah.
It's just
How?
that'd be keeping people. Some people in hundreds of thousands of dollars of consumer debt, and you're just like, that would keep me up all night. Like I couldn't imagine.
I've heard people say they're just not going to pay it back, though. That seems to be I've heard that trending
absolutely
lately, which is that's not good. And I asked you at one point, it's like, what would actually happen? Because then, if everyone's just claiming bankruptcy, then the money doesn't actually exist. You know, people aren't going to get paid, and you're probably not anything good. Or you did tell me more, but anyways, besides
it'd be fun. But the first step is
do your net worth statement.
Net worth statement. Okay, what type of information do you think you would need to know about the loan?
About the loan?
Yeah, about
you
the
need
loans.
to know the interest rate.
Yeah.
You need to know like the terms of the loan, I would say.
Like what? Be specific.
Like repayment, how it's
like
if you have
repaying.
How much you're repaying. If it's a student loan, for example, there's different. Are you paying interest only? Are you paying principal off right now? Are you because if you're thinking of all of your debt is what I'm thinking. Mortgage is different. Definitely credit cards, you want to get rid of those.
But recording them.
Yeah, you'd want your interest rates. Yeah, the repayment structure, I guess.
Yeah, so interest rates.
Yeah.
How much you're paying, like your payments.
Yeah.
How long you're going to be paying it for.
Yep.
How much is owing. That's all you really need. Okay, so you have a list, you write all those down, and that way you know where you start. Now you kind of need to determine how bad is it. Okay, so there's two categories of consumer debt, I guess, that I would consider. First off, any debt that is against a depreciating asset or no asset at all is, when I say get rid of all debt, they're the categories. That's the category.
So give some examples.
Student debt is one of them. Debt to go on vacation is another one. Car loans, another one.
Wedding debt,
just like consumer debt that isn't
credit cards.
Yeah, all of that. Payday loans, all of that. All of that.
Klarna.
Yeah.
Everyone, go pay off your Klarna right now after this episode.
All of that stuff is considered, I would put in that category of bad debt and need to get rid of it. Okay. But there's high interest debt and then there's low interest debt.
Yeah.
Very big difference between the two. So
that's why I was going to, sorry.
No, go.
I was going to say the other thing I would do is focus on the high interest.
Okay, well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the next.
That's why I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting too far ahead maybe. And then you're like, go ahead. But
Okay.
sorry.
So there's the two categories. What would some high interest debt be?
Credit card, payday loan,
Absolutely.
car.
If you were checking, if you're looking for debt and you see, first off, anything above like 20%, yeah, that's scary. But anything that's double digits, high interest debt.
I would
So
say anything like above 5 would
double
be.
digits is easy to remember, and
Okay.
it's a good
I'm like,
place-ish. Yes, so double digits, anything double digits is high interest debt. That you handle very differently than lower interest debt,
right.
like car
Student
loans,
loan.
student loans, things like that are definitely lower interest debt.
And a lot of times, if you have a line of credit or something, let's say you did house renos or those kinds of things, if you have it on some sort of revolving line of credit or loan from the bank, it's usually lower interest as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have them listed out, you know what you owe, you know the interest rates, you need to know how bad it is. So how much income do you earn in a month? And you're kind of looking to determine how many months, if you didn't have any other bills or anything, how many months it would take you to pay it off. Because that kind of gives you a very good idea of how much is this going to hurt. Okay.
Yep.
If you're at the point where this is over a year, it's going to be painful to pay it off because you will need to drastically cut back your lifestyle for an extended period of time in order to be able to pay this off. And you kind of need to sit down and determine what you're going to do about it if it is something that you want to pursue, right? Because it is great to pay off your debt, but there's a lot of people that just go through life and just
Well, that's what I mean, though. That's what seems to be happening.
just end up declaring bankruptcy or whatever. And I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying you need to have a realistic idea of exactly how much trouble you're in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that goes back to the principle, one of the Trey principles that eventually we're going to have on a whiteboard, I keep saying. But closing your eyes does not make the demons go away.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't even want to know, I'm telling you, it's...
That doesn't change the number.
If
you're
you
not knowing
don't want to know, you want to know.
Yeah,
like you
probably.
need to know,
You
actually.
need to know, yeah. If you don't want to know, you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have this list of things to pay off. Okay, and you decide you do want to then pay it off. What do you tackle first? So there's two thought processes. There's the avalanche approach and two common ones, avalanche approach and the snowball method.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what the snowball method is?
I would guess I'm thinking of a snowball. You roll it. So I would say small first.
Yeah, so you start off with, this is the one that Dave Ramsey talks about a lot, which is you start with the smallest balance and you basically pay off everything, pay that off first, and then you roll it over.
Yep.
And pay on the next one, and the next one, and the next one to give you kind of momentum.
Because then you're like checking things off a list, kind of.
It's like it can, I think it's better maybe for human
behavior. Yeah, it would feel more like satisfying to be like, I only have one loan. I mean, that loan could be ginormous.
Yeah.
But if you, instead of saying I have 16, I haven't even paid down one yet. If you're starting with the highest interest one, that might be discouraging. But
yeah,
I also think I get that, but I also think there's other ways to work around that through human behavior. Like thinking of dollar amounts or something.
Yeah. So let's say you do have it. Now there's the avalanche approach. What's that?
That feels like the one I would do, which is probably high interest. I would say whatever's costing the most, to get rid of that as fast as possible. And then list them that way. Go from most impactful to least impactful. I don't know. Does that make sense? The interest that you're paying.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's what the avalanche approach is. Yeah.
Okay.
Start with
you were giving me nothing. I'm like
highest interest. Start with the highest interest rate first. Yeah, that's the avalanche approach. Both are fine. Both are you paying off debt, but one is mathematically correct, and that's the avalanche approach. It's just not human behavior correct. You know me. I'm a robot, so I actually recommend a mixed approach. So any high interest debt, you tackle first, regardless. And you actually use any available low interest debt to pay down the high interest debt. So what I'm saying here is if you have a line of credit, like a home equity line of credit, and it's sitting there at 7% and you have credit cards, you take that line of credit and you pay off those credit cards.
Yeah.
You need to get out of high interest debt, full stop, and you need to do it and throw the kitchen sink at it.
Yeah, as fast as possible.
Fast as
Aggressive,
possible.
get rid of it.
You
yeah.
get rid of it as fast as humanly possible, because that's the stuff that will financially kill you. Like,
Yeah.
It's so expensive. You'll get to the point where there's people online where they're like, I've been paying my loans for however long and it's gone up because I haven't paid off any. Yeah, that's high interest. That's high interest debt. It will kill you. So once you determine, you have your list and you say, okay, this is the high interest stuff, this is the low interest stuff. High interest stuff is the first stuff that tackles. But how do you tackle it?
How? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
like, so you know it, you want to pay it down. What's the next step?
Well, that's where you look at what I was thinking, the terms and stuff. If it's a credit card, easy, you start.
Okay, so next step is budget.
Well, yeah, because you know your, like you said earlier, the income, how much is this going to hurt? How many months?
Yeah, but that's so you know how bad it is. You don't know,
Okay.
because what are your expenses? What are your,
Right.
So you need to sit down and do a budget.
Yeah.
And the reason is because the thing about debt is that is you now paying for your past self.
Yeah.
So that's you paying for your past self's lifestyle.
Yeah.
Which means in order to get out of debt, you need to reduce your current lifestyle to pay for your old lifestyle, which is very hard to do. Getting out of debt is very simple. So, Sika? Sika's at the door sniffing.
I got scared, to be honest. So,
Yeah, getting out of debt is very difficult for that reason, because it's the complete opposite of what you've been doing. What you've been doing up to this point is making it your future person's problem, your future self's problem to pay for right now. Now you have to pay for right now and pay for your past self.
brutal.
It's very brutal.
You know what this, I always liken this to, though, is losing weight and health. Because if you think about it that way, it's the exact same thing. You've made decisions in whatever way, most of the time, where you've put yourself into a precarious situation, and now you're like, okay, not only do I have to lose weight, then you, like, once you hit that weight, you're at the neutral starting point, and then you build your strength and those things. It's not as linear as that, obviously, because if you're working out and eating healthy, you're probably gaining muscle and getting stronger any in between, but it is that point.
Unfortunately, with finances, you're not.
Unfortunately. But it feels like
But
similar, where it's, okay, now you have to
make up for past.
make up for past decisions in the current time. Because if you don't, you're just, your future self is still you. Later on, you're just going to be like, I wish I would have started 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. Just get it done. I think that's the hardest part, is just doing it.
Yeah, very much so, because it takes a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
So you have this list, you have your budget, and you realize that based on your current expenses, you're cutting back and these are your expenses, that it's going to take you 5 years, let's say, to pay this off. What then?
Okay, so at your current income and expenses, I guess the way we do a budget is we have our kind of separate column for what does it actually cost us to live? And then we have expenses that could technically be cut out. So do these people have those, I guess, is what I would be looking at. Maybe you're not watching Netflix anymore. Like, cut, you know what, like people, but that's the other thing is people sometimes think, oh, it's only $5. It's only $10 a month. It's only, if you're in debt, I feel like 50-cent bag at the store. No, you're bringing your own bags. That's how I view it.
I think there is a balance, because it needs to be sustainable.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm saying
you are looking
going into it with that mindset where it's no, my goal, when you have that goal, it should drive you to every little thing should like be towards that goal. If you're paying that off, it's like, no, I want to make sure I bring my grocery bags with me. I don't know why I'm hung up on that, but anyways.
Yeah, I would say you need to, if it looks that dire, you need to be seriously thinking about cutting your lifestyle back in whatever capacity that is, whether that means selling your home, whether that means you downsize into a cheaper place to live, like whatever that means, you have to seriously downsize your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because it means that up until now, you have managed to get yourself 5 years of discretionary income behind.
Yeah.
In order for you to get out of that, you have to fix 5 years of mistakes. That means the next 5 years of your life, you wouldn't be able to make any changes. It's unlikely to happen. So you need to be cutting back on the core stuff, and you need to be focusing on getting your income up. You need to be going back to basics, because that is a lot, and you will never. If somebody's out there that has done that, let me know, because I'd be very impressed.
Yeah.
But you would have to seriously make some deep sacrifices
Yeah.
in order to be able to do that. You start with the high interest debt. You have your budget. It would have to be a zero-sum budget where every single dollar is accounted for.
Yeah.
If you have high interest debt, very different. If you have high interest debt, everything goes towards that. Throw the kitchen sink at it nonstop. If you are just dealing with low interest debt, I think it's very important that you still have spending money.
Yeah, I remember you've said that before.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's so surprising, but it does make sense, because once again, numbers on a sheet are one thing, and then being a person with life and all that other stuff it's just not realistic.
No. So you can be cutting back, right? You can
Yeah.
be cutting back and saying to your friends, hey, I'm not going to be going out to the bar anymore on weekends because I can't afford to. But for you to say, hey, I'm just not hanging out with you entirely, that's a little harder. What you could say instead is, let's do something at my place.
Yeah.
And much, much cheaper. So I still
Let's
think
cook. Let's play
Yes.
cards. There's so many
there's
options.
things you can do, but if you leave yourself no money,
Yeah.
which high interest debt, heck yeah, that's that is the cost, that's your punishment for getting yourself in a situation. But for low interest debt, a lot of it is consumerism. So it's like the cars and the stuff like that. And if you've looked at it and it's not bad enough that you need to be selling these vehicles and selling the boat, then I think it's okay that you give yourself some wiggle room there.
Yeah.
But it's important that during this time, you master the basics. You need to be setting yourself a budget and sticking to that. Come what may, even in this range, there is no holidays. There is no like big vacations or none of that. Like, no, you're still focused on getting rid of these debts that will put you further and further behind. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say there's a balance again for human behavior. And I'm against shaming people into, I feel like it doesn't work if you want someone to change something, to be like, you shouldn't have done this. And you know what I mean? Making them feel bad.
I think so. I think to a degree, because they're the ones that suffer the consequences for it.
For sure.
So,
but I think if you actually want changed behavior from people, you have to let them see the truth. Absolutely. Like, that is the situation you're in. But also, it's not like the end of the world either. Like, you were like, no holidays, no this. Yeah, that might be true, but that doesn't mean you can't. You have to be creative. That's how I would put it. Think of other things to do. You can, I don't know, take a road trip to Regina. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah, I don't agree at all.
Really?
Because the time frame isn't that long at that stage.
That's true.
So what's the time frame? So you've looked at the decision. Most of that debt is, I can sell the asset if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So let's say you have too much car and you have $100,000 vehicle and $120,000 worth of debt. Well, then you go and sell the $100,000 of vehicle, buy a $20,000 vehicle. Now you have $40,000 worth of debt. You can get done with that in 2 years. You can not go on vacations for 2 years in order for you to pay that off.
For sure. I'm talking more about if it was a long-term thing, like you said.
But what type of situation for low interest debt would that be?
Oh, I guess not. And like you said,
because normally low
it's
interest
high
debt
interest. That is a big problem.
and low interest debt tends to be against assets
Yeah.
in some capacity, right? Yes, they're depreciating assets, most of them, but it's against an asset that you can sell to get out of this debt. So if you've made the choice not to sell your nice big camper van that's sitting there. Well, I mean, you go use you better go use the camper van now.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's where you have your spending money, right? To
Yeah.
go do those type of things.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
I'm just saying you can't be going on the river cruise that you wanted to do and put it on credit card because you don't have the money to do it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I
does that
think
make
we are
sense?
saying the same things. I think I was just softening it again. You know me, I'm like, is everyone feeling okay? we just, that's not always good. I admit to that, but
You have to own the consequences of your decisions. They're
absolutely.
very easy consequences to see coming. You have to own them.
Yep.
But so once you've paid off your high interest debt, you then move on, loosen the strings a little bit and you move on to your low interest debt. The low interest debt I would tackle in the snowball method.
Okay.
So get rid of the payments. You want to, I almost want to extend out any payments as long as possible that you
What do you
have
mean?
so that you can put it toward. So for instance, let's say I had 5 loans and one was due within 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, and 15 years. I would want them all to be as long as possible so that I can choose where to put the money.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want to minimize my payments, my forced payments, so that I can. So if I have, let's say, $3,000 a month to put towards debt, I want that $3,000, as much of it as possible, to go towards the debt that I want it to go towards.
Okay. Gotcha.
And this comes into play for things like car loans is a common one. Let's say you have a 3-year car loan because you thought if I have a 3-year, it'll be done as quickly as possible. But then you have credit card debt, right? It's like, no, you should have a 50-year car loan if you can get it, but you should get it as long as possible so that you free up cash to put towards the other debt that you want to be putting it towards.
Right. Yeah.
And this applies with mortgages as well. Let's say you're in this situation and you have other debt and you have a mortgage and you've been paying on your mortgage for 15 years. So you have 10 years left of your mortgage. You should be re-amortizing that out to 25 years so that you can put all of that extra cash towards the other higher interest debt. And then once you've paid off the higher interest debt, then you can go fix your mortgage and you can say, okay, now I've done it. I can put it back down to whatever you want to put it towards.
And that, I feel like, again, that's almost like a mind shift thing because I think you might be hung up on, oh, but I want to know that I'm going to pay off my house in 10 years, but you don't realize you're spending your money on interest. So you might as well, you're going to get that money back or like you're going to keep more money if you pay off that other.
A lot of people struggle to look at their financial picture as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I had a
seeing that.
client, they're very well to do, very intelligent, and got like great clients. And they were doing something similar where his goal was to pay off the mortgage as quickly as he could. But then he went and got a car loan that was much higher interest rate to pay off. But then he was still going to finish his goal of being mortgage free. And I was like, no, that's not. Hold up. You're wanting to be mortgage free because it's some goal that you've set for yourself, not debt free. Like you need to look at it holistically and think, this is how much debt I have. This is what I'm paying in interest overall. I want to reduce that as much as possible versus it being on just because you want to be able to say you're mortgage free. Does that make sense?
100%. And I was going to say, again, I don't know who these people are and like absolutely no offense meant, but a lot of times people will tie it to almost being able to say those things. You wouldn't go around being, oh, I'm almost car loan free. Like people don't say that, I guess, or I am car loan free. I don't know if people say that, but people do say I've paid off my house. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily that. I think it's more like to say it to yourself, maybe like it's a goal that you've had.
Yeah,
a lot of people have had
too. Like maybe not to other people, but even like you said, to yourself, to have that thought in your brain, like I did it. And I get that too, but you're right. It's not all about.
You just have to look at it holistically.
Yeah.
So what step was I on? So then you've paid it off. Okay. Now you have to understand, again, you can now loosen the strings even more, but you have to understand that you're now at 0 or you're now at 1, and that you need to keep the same mentality to put yourself in a situation where that can't happen again. And this is the bit that a lot of people will struggle with because, and I'm saying that's why I say you can loosen it a little bit, but you still need to maintain the same type of discipline until you're ahead enough that you're in a good spot, that you have a fully funded emergency fund and you have savings in an investment portfolio that's accessible to you, and you have, if you do have any retirement savings that you need to catch up on, you have caught up on that so you can retire when you want to and meet your other financial goals. Because if you're in that situation, it's likely that has also been left.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I think we talked about this in an earlier episode where once you hit that zero mark and you're debt free, you're still kind of in a scary situation because you're one emergency away from
Absolutely, yeah.
going back into debt. So maybe that's another way to look at it. A lot of people want to celebrate that. And I think celebrating those small things is great, but not having that as the final destination almost. Like you need to have a, yeah, like you said, I guess I'm just reiterating it differently. I'm paraphrasing.
I think a lot of people, they do learn so much about themselves going through the debt, that journey to drag themselves out of debt.
Yeah.
So I do think that a lot of people will understand where they went wrong by this point and do significantly better.
Yeah.
And this is also the part where when you've been like slaving for debt for years and years of your life and suddenly you don't have those payments, you feel like you're rich. Honestly, your paycheck comes in and nothing's going out. Thousands of dollars aren't leaving for the boat payment and the car payment. And it's like, oh, what do I do with all this spare money? You suddenly feel like you can do more.
Yeah.
And it's you can, right? That's the
point.
That's the point. You can, but you also need to make sure that you are putting yourself in a situation that you can do everything else as well. So that means being diligent and putting some aside and keeping the good habits that you've built. So that's the core of it. Like paying off debt's very easy to say, and everybody knows how to do it. It's just
like
very
calories
difficult
in, calories out. Same idea.
Same, yeah, exactly the
Money
same
in,
idea.
money out.
It's just very difficult to do, but it only works. Not only works. I am a robot. I believe it only works properly with good systems and structure in place. If you do not have safeguards, if it is easy for you to go and break your budget, if it's easy for you to go spend more, if you make the wrong decisions easy to do, you're only making it so much harder on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I agree with that. It's like and especially if you're prone to those behaviors, you know that about yourself because you're in the debt. So make it
hard.
Do it backwards, like do all the hard work up front instead because you're making it harder for yourself at some point. It's all hard.
Yeah, everything's hard.
Everything's hard.
Very difficult to be in crippling debt.
Yeah. And sometimes people think, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming to do all that work up front. If people have never done a net worth statement and a budget, like I get it, it can feel like a lot, but you're doing all that work at some point. It's just do it now so that your future self will be happy and not how your current self is feeling about your past self.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a completely different way of thinking, which is why I think it's also so difficult because it is a complete flip on the way that you see and treat your money and your finances.
Like realistically, you said it already. You've gotten yourself into this position, but now for hopefully the rest of your life, you will change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another thing that's really hard and scary for people is like your behavior has to change.
Yeah.
And that is, again, the hardest thing for people. Everyone's completely capable of it, but it is very difficult for sure in anything.
I find a lot of people lose friends and stuff over this type of big changes because what you perceive as valuable shifts.
Yeah.
You're now wanting freedom and you're wanting like
peace.
Yeah. And it's just very different than maybe what the friends that you had that helped you get into this mess, that may be very different than what they're pursuing. And it's sad to say, but that's just the reality of it. You are the sum of the closest 3 people you surround yourself with or something like that. So it's like you want to make sure that you surround yourself with good people, but that's a completely different topic.
Yeah, just to put it into perspective, like all that being said, is it easy? No. But you will feel so good when it's gone.
Mhm.
So do it. Just do it.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
there's so many things to help you. And like,
There's so much. There's
I
so
think
much.
another thing that people get, again, we've already talked about this, but people get a little bit overwhelmed because it's like you have so much information available to you. But when it's something that's already kind of like weighing on you,
Hmm.
then you start researching and you're like, oh my gosh,
There's
what?
so many different paths to do it. Am I talking, listen to this guy, they hear this episode, they're like, how does he now budget?
Yeah,
Do I need to do it like him and like for this to work? It's like, no. What you do need to do is budget.
just do something.
Do something.
Do something. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Just take action.
absolutely, because if you do it my way, there'll be a little bit of cash building up in a house account that isn't going towards debt, and you'll be there thinking, well, I could put that towards debt, and it's like you absolutely could. Either way is going to work. Do it Dave Ramsey's way, where he tells you to go do noodles. Do it that way. Eat ramen noodles.
Oh.
He's like,
I was like, are you getting confused with Gordon again? I was like, that's really what I thought. I was like, do noodles.
no, go and like eat ramen noodles, and that's it. Like he's very like I again, I think there's a balance. I think your health is also very important, but there's a balance. But you have to do something. If you look at the numbers and you say, and you can, because it's very easy to do the math. If you're $100,000 in debt, and when you do your budget, you see that you have $10,000 extra left over. Like 100,000 divided by 10,000 is 10. You're looking at this thing, it's going to take me 10 years to get out of this debt for getting interest. No, I have to change something. If you're in that type of situation, that's way too much of consumer type debt, right? And I'm not including your mortgage in that. That's different and up for debate on its own. I'm just talking about that bad consumer debt where it's against a depreciating asset. But the most important thing, you said it, is action. You need to do something. So it doesn't matter whether it's my way of budgeting or to anybody else's way of budgeting, as long as it's a way that works for you, do that.
Realistically, yeah. Again, we're so hung up on optimizing things that you might be spending all this time being like, okay, which method should I use? How do I get rid of this debt? Get rid of this debt fast. Close the laptop, look at whatever's in your account and stuff. Just start putting money towards something. Do it in smaller chunks, I guess, like the research. I mean, if you can't do it all.
Yeah, I would.
It's just like an
It's hard.
optimization.
I don't know.
thing.
I don't know whether I would quite agree, just because you need to make sure you're putting it in the right places. So I think it is better that you.
For sure, but I think if you're going to spend 3 months researching.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I think we're talking about extremes, though. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. These are all, yeah.
Yeah.
We're disagreeing a lot on this one. And you should probably listen to him because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to make it interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I think it is worth you thinking about it a little bit beforehand, making sure you're targeting the right ones. Like line of credits are great to pay down with all your excess cash because you can just re-borrow it if you absolutely need it. Like those type of things, I think it's very
Yeah,
easy.
for sure.
Heck, you just use the envelope method for budgeting if you're really struggling, where you just have cash for everything, right? Like there's ways that there's things you can do. The big thing is everybody's got an excuse. I can tell even when I'm talking to somebody, the people that will follow through, like I do pro bono planning and stuff sometimes, and you can tell because some people they'll come up with an excuse for everything that you're recommending, and then other people will say something and then they'll immediately come up with their own solution. It's like, okay, the person that's coming up with their own solutions are looking for solutions to their problems, looking for ways to do it versus looking for obstacles and things that are
Like ways
stopping
out of
them,
doing it.
ways out of doing it, reasons it wouldn't work for me, reasons it's for this, for me, I'm different, right? It's like you have to take an honest look at yourself, see the numbers, and start working towards it because nobody's going to do it for you. So
Yeah.
unless you get lucky and it's the government. Okay. Anyway, we will next episode. I don't even know what next episode is about.
Well, you'll just have to wait and find out. We'll do a surprise this time.
Okay, yes.
Because people wait.
It's
not because we don't have the laptop readily available and know what it is.
No, definitely.
You just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's all part of the allure. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, if you have any feedback or anything like that, or you have a story to tell about how you did it, let me know. This would be an interesting one for people to listen to other people who have done it.
I was going to also mention, because we had talked about this and we haven't actually brought it up on the podcast, but we had talked about having people on the podcast for different topics, I guess. If people like, where should they just contact you directly?
Yeah, just
like
email me. Yeah.
if they want to, okay, I have a good story. And we also talked about making it anonymous. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I was like, oh, I wonder if people would like that, which, I mean, apparently people tell you what they like all the time. I just haven't really heard much about it. So I'm like,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one.
okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Plain English Finance Podcast. Trey Bino, Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Investment Manager, is a financial planner with TC Wealth Management and Aviso Wealth. You should always consult with your financial, legal, and tax advisors before making changes. This podcast is provided as a general source of information and should not be considered personal investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any securities. The views expressed are those of the individual and are not necessarily those of Aviso Financial Inc. Mutual funds and other securities offered through Aviso Wealth, a division of Aviso Financial Inc.